Yes. In previous class, we discussed about financial systems and financial statement, financial markets, right? So today, let us discuss about the next topic of our syllabus. I'm just sharing screen. Please wait a moment. I'm opening my Google Drive. Please give me a little time. Yes. Hmm. On this. So. Investment companies. We also discussed this about insurance sector, right? Development banks, insurance sector, need for financial intermediation, financial system in India. Please, children, I didn't mute you all, so you can speak. This is all we discussed in our previous class. Do you have any further doubts?
Excuse me, ma'am. I didn't listen previous class, ma'am.
Once again, dear, your voice is not audible.
Previous classes I didn't listen.
You didn't attend. You are supposed to say, I didn't attend previous classes. Objectives of development. So you are saying you not attended the previous class. So you want me to repeat?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't you have YouTube classes also? You didn't attend those also? No problem, dear. You can answer. Not attended. Who's this? Hmm. Yeah. Who's that? I think this Neha. Neha. Karuna, Palle. Okay, no problem. I'll take. Reforms in the insurance sector also, I said, we discussed in our previous class. Non-banking finance companies, we have merchant banking, underwriting, housing finance, venture. Shraddha, you are there now? Previous class? Shraddha? Shraddha is there. So tell me, shall I repeat this only? Aruna asked about others. Neha also there. Shraddha also there. Previous class. Anyway, today's class, I'm going to take about a new topic. The network is so slow. Yeah. So we discuss about this market participants, sorry, financial systems in India and organized markets, money market and capital market. Shall I discuss with about money market, which is important, money market and the capital market? My notes, last time I took the same class. Children, are you there? This is the other one in the financial markets and instruments your services will get. Okay. One of the topic or the financial markets and services, mutual funds I'm taking. Mutual funds means what? They're like a link, like we said, the development banks acts as a link between the public, the savings of investment investors, and helps the marketers to raise their capital, right? It helps in capital formation. So here mutual funds through, how development banks help the marketers or the corporates to raise their capitals from the public, motivating the public to invest their savings in the companies. So how in the form of equity shares, but Indians generally risk averse people will be there, so they don't come forward in order to attract these risk averse people, because investing in companies and then capital investment companies in the form of shares or debenture equities is a involves huge risk. So people, those who are risk averse, not will come forward to invest in the shares of the company. So in order to attract such more number of customer investors and attract risk averse investors also. These development banks and whoever the middlemen are there, they develop mutual funds. Mutual funds are like a link between the savings of public and the capital markets. They mobilize the savings of the investors, like a small funds. Means whatever minimum amount, with the minimum amount of your savings also, you can invest in the companies. They collect the minimum amount of investments from the small investors and put in a one company or distribute that in the different companies in shares. Okay, so the development banks and other middlemen, whoever are there, those people will through the mutual funds will invest in the company shares and the equities. Through the means they use to collect these funds from the public, generally mutual funds are the one of the main instrument through which public will means these unit trust or middlemen, merchant bank, development banks who are there to collect the small savings of small investors and invest in the companies and helps for the raising of capital by the companies. Okay. Let us see how these mutual funds started. Mutual funds is right from the Egyptians and the period. Actually, we don't get, let's not take, just have the ones. It is there from the Egyptians period itself. What they used to do, sell their shares in vessels and caravans with an idea of spreading their risk. Okay. But in real sense, the modern concept of mutual fund is started by the Foreign and Colonial Government Trust of London in 1868. Slowly in 20 years, it expanded, came on expanding to different sorts, and many people exposure to the mutual funds came among the many small investors, and publicity more about the providing knowledge and educating the investors about the mutual funds and their importance has increased. Okay, and so mutual funds, what are the mutual funds? Are investment institutions which pool the savings of investors who share the financial goals and invest in a scheme that has a designed object and strategy. Okay, invested by the fund manager in different types of securities. I said, now, what is the mutual funds there? They collect from small investors, whoever the small investors are there, from the small investors, encourage these small investors also to keep their small savings in the mutual funds. So, from the small investors, whatever the savings they collect, that they put in invest in different companies or different company securities. Okay, here the person who involves in this activity we call as the fund manager. He is the fund manager. Say Mr. X. Mr. X is a fund manager, and we are all. How many of us are there? Aruna, Venugopal, Shraddha, Neha, and Siddharani. So we all what we did, 5 of us invested in with the X. We whatever small savings we have, we gave to the Mr. X because he promised us without much risk, he will give a big returns to us. So in the form of mutual, he asked us to invest in a form of mutual funds. So all of us all together put together some 10,000 we invested. Okay, small amounts. Okay, so this 10,000, what this when Mr. X will do, he invest in different company securities in all the entire 10,000. But when the say upon that securities, whatever returns he'll get, that he will distribute to these to all of us, all of our 5 members, in the ratio in which you invested in the company or with the X. Okay, so fund manager plays an important role because he has to take care of the investments, in where to invest, how to invest, in what amount to invest. Okay, because he is responsible for all of us. our 5 people's money he collected, promising that he will give the good returns on our funds. So when he is investing, he should take care, make sure that those funds generate revenues. Okay, so fund managers role is very much important here. The same thing has been written here. What kind of securities? It can be shares or debentures, whatever. Instead of you or me directly invest in the company securities, because we all 5 are risk averse people, means don't want to take risk but want a good returns. So what we did, we trusted Mr. X through mutual funds. We trusted Mr. X and gave our funds. So what Mr. X did, all our 5 people's funds invested in different company securities. Okay, small units. So that's how this fund manager plays an important role and encourages small investors to invest in companies and make sure that capital formation takes place for the companies to raise their capitals. Okay, this is how more majority of the funds are raised also, because mutual funds may be described as financial institutions which are pooling the funds by the issue of their units of equal size from different investors and investing them in securities, news, nature, and variety, so that the risk of investors is minimized and return maximized. I just explained the same thing in the easy way. Okay. So different authors have given different. Mutual fund is a non-depository or non-banking financial intermediary which acts as an important vehicle for bringing wealth holders and deficit units data indirectly. Okay, and business finance. Dictionary of Business Finance defines mutual funds as an investment fund that pools the invested funds of others and invest these funds on their behalf, usually in a specific kind of investment, such as money market instruments, municipal bonds, or common stocks. All these activities we call as a mutual funds. And there is other definition given by SEBI, that is Security Exchange of India. Fund established in the form of trust by a sponsor or raise monies by the trustee through the sale of units to public under one more schemes for investing securities according to these regulations we call as a mutual funds. Let us see the characteristics of mutual funds or the features of mutual funds. First one is disclosure of facts. What the mutual funds do first, it discloses all the facts that when any mutual fund, any mutual funds are subject to risk, but they're supposed to disclose all the facts. See, X is collecting all our funds and saying that he will give the good returns, but he should disclose that how he's investing our funds, where he's investing our funds. Okay, all that information has to be given, and periodically he is supposed to submit the reports. Okay, and these mutual funds not only to its investors but also answerable to the SEBI and must act under the SEBI guidelines. The next one is fund mobilization. Yes, these mutual fund institutions collect funds from the different in small investors. Okay, they're involved in the main task or function or objective or feature of mutual fund institution itself is collecting funds from the investors, not leaving any small investor also. Means it is not that they don't force. It is they make sure that every small investor show their interest in investing in the mutual funds. That's how they try to induce or promote their mutual fund schemes. Here what they do, they divide the amount of capital that they raise from the public in the form of mutual funds in small units. Okay, and units, so we all 5 small investors buy those units of the mutual fund. Okay, and that amount he invests in other companies. That's how mutual fund institutions mobilize the funds. The next one is diversification of investment. So whatever funds that he collected from all the investors, that in the form of units, okay, he invests in a different company's securities or bonds or debentures. Okay. And say, for example, I invested 4,000, Neha invested 2,000, Shraddha and Venugopal invested 2,000. All of you, Shraddha invested 3,000, Venugopal invested 1,000. So, like that, we invested. So, entire 10,000, what he do? He will invest in different companies, but based on the ratio 4 to 15, what is it? 3, 1. 4 to 3, 1. This is the ratio. Whatever returns we get will distribute to us. Okay. So he will invest this entire amount in different companies. It's not necessarily only from one investor's funds. He invests in one company, other in one company. Okay. The next one is that expert financial management, support of financial management. Yes, these institutions generally deal in the various financial matters and acts as a mediator between the corporate company and the small investor. So, on behalf of the small investor, helps the investors in investments of in making their investments and generating good returns on their investments. And fund manager plays an important role in making those investments and taking various financial decisions on behalf of its small investors. That's the other feature which we can see. So, in mutual funds, you to invest in mutual funds, you need not to have a knowledge of mutual funds. If you have a good savings money, the minimum amount of savings money, and you want to get a good returns with a very less amount of risk, you can invest your money in the mutual funds, and that fund manager will help you everything and will explain you everything regarding the risk and returns. Okay. Sharing of return to investors. Yes, mutual funds, that's what I'm telling from the beginning. Mutual funds, what they do, they share whatever, they mobilize the funds, they invest in different securities, and whatever returns that it's received on those investments of securities will be distributed to the these small shareholders or investors in the form of returns. That is, it can be in the form of interest or a dividend. Okay. So return received on investments is distributed to the members of the fund in proportion of the fund invested by the members. Okay. I just said, see, 4, 3, 2, 1. That ratio he return gets the give the returns to the investors. So, what are the functions of mutual funds? Very simple. First, it discloses all the facts to the SEBI as well as to the investors regarding its functioning. Okay, and the intention, what kind of streams are going to start and all. Second, involves in mobilization of funds from the small investors. Okay, and next, makes diversified investments. Whatever funds are mobilized from small investors, all those funds are invested in different companies, securities, and where fund manager plays an important role. The next, support the financial management, like by acting as an intermediary between the company and the small investors. He helps in mobilization of funds from the surplus to deficit. That's how he involves. Not only that, by taking wise decisions in the matters of investments, also mutual funds plays a supportive financial management skills. Shows some good supportive management skills. The next we see, the final one is, in mutual funds, you'll find whatever the returns they earn on the investments will be paid back or paid back to the investors in the proportion of their investments. Okay, you may get it out. Then what the benefit they get, madam? Along with our investments, you also invest, or whatever he make investments, he will charge some commission. Okay, So that's about mutual funds. Now let us see the different types of mutual funds. It's an important topic for your examination also. The types of mutual funds on the basis of duration of funds or the structure, the closed-end mutual funds and open-end mutual funds. What is meant by closed-end mutual funds? Yes. And closed-end means if your fund manager has invested your funds in a particular company securities or shares, then and he has been allotted, that company allotted those securities to this fund manager for his investments, then he cannot move on to the other funds. Okay. Price determined the stock funds are allotted the company once the shares these. So whatever are immediate, when he has been allotted, immediately his shares were listed in the company stock exchange, in the stock exchanges, and whatever transactions relating to these units by the mutual funds institutions are there, only through the stock market at the stock market prices can be done. I'll repeat once again. Say, for example, for us, who is our fund manager? Mr. X, right? So, Mr. X applied in particular company securities, and that company has allotted the shares. So, that company is a listed company. So, the moment our investments of X, whatever the fund manager made in that company, that securities also means whatever shares or securities are allotted on our name. Okay, all those will appear or will be listed in the stock exchange. Means we can find our names and the company securities in the stock exchanges. Okay, and you can do your transactions only through the stock exchange. Once this fund manager has approached you through the securities of listed companies, and he has been allotted means, and those allotted securities or the units, whatever are there, will be traded again only through stock exchange. That is what in simple to say. And they can redeem only at a particular period of time. Open-end mutual fund. Whatever why he is mentioning units of these funds, because in mutual funds we say units, and when he invests those funds in a companies we say as securities. So units of these mutual funds are issued by the operator of the fund, and after the allotment also the units of these funds remain open for sale and repurchased by the issuing organization. So there it's closed. Only in the through stock exchange rates, stock exchange markets he can do. But here they can open like other units, they whatever not listed, they can purchase or sale. They can do the trading. Okay. So how the value is measured? So normally the units of these funds are purchased by the operators at a NAV based price. So in stock exchanges based on the stock market price. Okay, determine the stock market price, whatever the day the company shares values, at that price you can do the trading. Your mutual fund units also. But in open and mutual funds case, you are open units of those funds, whatever are there, fund are open in the issuing market itself only. Okay, and you can do the trading, but the price of those funds or units are determined based on the NAV. NAV means net asset value. Okay. Next, interval funds. These funds combine features of open and closed-end schemes. They are open for sale and redemption during predetermined intervals. Means they are open under sale, open for sale and repurchase, but at a instead of stock market price, at NAV they are available. Okay. Yes. Next we have on the basis of scheme orientation. Income oriented scheme, growth oriented funds. If you are good enough, if you are a working people and have a knowledge of mutual funds, uh, you can understand this. Like income oriented, as I already said, mutual funds are exclusively and majorly for in order to attract the risk averse people. So in order to attract these risk averse, there are certain people who want a fixed income without any risk. There are certain people who want good returns, at the same time growth of their investment or growth of their investment or growth in their income. Okay, they want to take, they are ready to take a little risk. So based on the risk bearing ability of the investor and risk averseness, degree of risk averseness of the investor, there we have, on the basis of schemes, we have two types of mutual funds, that is, those are oriented, income oriented schemes and growth oriented schemes. Income oriented schemes means what? These are suitable only to those investors who are not ready to bear any risk. They won't get a only fixed returns. Generally, that fund, that kind of investments are the fund they invest in the debentures and bonds, because debentures and bonds give fixed returns. They are treated as the creditors of the company. So these whatever the funds collected under this scheme by the fund manager, he invests those funds in a debentures or bonds of the company. Say for example, we have one left, Venugopal left. We have Venugopal. Venugopal don't want to take any risk. So his amount he will invest along with the Venugopal, whoever other are there, he will invest in the debentures and the bonds of the company. So that upon that, whatever fixed returns they'll get will be paid back to the Venugopal and the other. Okay, like that. So the funds collected, that is the in simple income oriented scheme, whoever risk averse people are, the investors are there, for those and want a fixed returns, good returns than the bank rate interest, then such investors funds are invested in the companies which give periodically good fixed returns. Okay, like debentures and bonds, he will invest. That amount will be paid to the. Okay. So he mentioned about different monthly income streams. Scheme funds are also launched by keeping view of requirements of some elderly people who are retired or nearing requirement. Yeah, some like uh, people who want to get fixed returns at their retirement age. But that such kind of funds collected from such kind of investors also are grouped under the fixed income returns. Generally, they invest in debentures or bonds of companies which give fixed returns. The next one is growth-oriented funds. Growth-oriented funds means what? These are the investors who want to take a little risk, but at the same time they want a good return on their funds, or they want a good growth on in the investment of their money. Okay, such companies, such investors funds are invested in the equity, preferential shares, because preferential shares give little risk but have a fixed returns, or growth also will be there. Okay, on equity shares also. Any other? Ways will vary. So in the growth oriented, what happens? The fund fixed returns, they'll not get fixed returns. Depending on the profitability of the company, they get the returns. So what they do, when company gets good returns, they'll get good return on their investment. Sometimes, say for example, I invested 4,000 and Shraddha, you how much I said? 2,000 invested. Okay, and company 4:2. That is 2:1 ratio. It should pay. We are ready to. We want growth of our funds. So what the fund manager invested our funds in the uh, shares of other companies. Some ABC company. So if ABC company get good returns, we get and finally upon our funds, if the fund manager received 1,000 rupees of return, he will distribute as in the 2:1 ratio. If a fund manager gets 1,500, that also we get. So depending on the company performance, profits, we get our returns. So there is no fixed rate of return. Okay. So generally, people who are ready to take a minimum risk upon their investments, for such people, these growth-oriented funds are alerted. Okay. So because we want to take risk and we want the risk to what extent to forego our invested money only to that extent. So what we do instead of doing directly through fund manager, we go and through units and mutual funds we will do. Okay. Next, you have different types under mentioned on that. Next, growth come income oriented schemes. A category of fund has element of both income as well as appreciation. Some definite regular income is assured on these funds as well as after certain period when the share are liquidated, distributed among the contributors. The contributors may get the appreciation benefit on their investments. Yes, growth. Name only saying the growth and income. As we get a growth, at the same time, income. Like after certain period, you get a first regularly you get some income, and after certain period or redemption of the your investment from the mutual funds means withdrawal of your investment money from the mutual funds, you will get some growth. Say when you invested 2, I invested 4. So at the time of redemption, I may get 6 and you may get a 3. Okay, or 3, 5. So you are getting regular income at the same time growth on your investment also. So both the profits will be there. Next, on the basis of portfolio composition. Yes. What is this? We are talking about types now. Yeah. Portfolio composition. Again, we have different types. Under the other type of mutual funds are portfolio composition. As I said, means put your eggs in different basket. If you put all your eggs in one basket and that basket fell down from your hand, falls from your hand, what happens? Every egg will break. But here, if you put it in different baskets, if one basket fell also, the other basket in your hand, you can save. Same way, portfolio investment means what? Entire money is invested in different companies. Okay, the money is, say for example, total 10,000 he collected from the 4 members. So instead of he invest entire 10,000 in ABC company only, he invest in different companies. He invest in different companies. Okay. So in a small units. He will invest in different companies in small units. He will invest and the returns that he get. If one company gets a loss also, that loss of on from one company can be recovered from the profits of the other company. That's how he make the portfolio investment. Again, fund manager only. So based on the portfolio composition, you have different types: stock fund, bond funds, balanced funds, and money market funds, leveraged funds. You have different types of funds: specialized funds, real estate funds, taxation. Means in which companies you invest. What did I say? Portfolio composition. Portfolio investment means putting your eggs in different basket. That means the entire 10,000, whatever the fund manager collected from the 4 members, he instead of invest entire 10,000 in one ABC company, he invests in different companies. Again, in that based on how he invests, how he make that investment, portfolio, dividing the fund into small small values and investing in different companies. Okay. So based on again how the patterns and the way that he invests, we have different portfolio combination. Stock fund, that means invest our entire, say 10,000 he divided into 5 parts. 2,000, 2,000, 2,000 he wants to. That means 5 companies he wants to. All the 5 companies he will select only companies which are the stocks. All the stocks only he will invest. Entire money he will invest in stocks of different companies. Then it is called as stock fund. Okay. benefits, but depreciation in equity value. Okay, so generally, what is the advantage? Uh, Fixed return on means, yeah, stocks you are investing means you cannot expect a fixed return, but growth may be there. The next, bond funds. Bond funds means what? If you want a fixed returns, then this entire 10,000 amount, whatever he collected from the customer investors, will be invested in a different company bonds alone. Means fixed returns will be there, risk is less. Okay, like those who prefer the fixed income for them. Okay, the next one is balanced funds. Balanced funds means what? Like equally means some here is certain portion of funds on a stock and certain portion of funds in certain portion of funds in a, one second, you will invest in a certain portion of funds he will invest in a what do you call, bonds. So what happens? Every investor get a fixed return. At the time, every investor will have a growth combination. He will see. He'll make the combination properly. He'll make sure the fund manager makes sure that investors get a maximum profit. Money market funds. Like if you invest the funds collected from the small investors in the money market instruments like commercial papers, treasury bills, or public deposits, then we call a money market funds. Means minimum returns they'll get. That's the reason why nowadays you might be noticed or not, I don't know. If you observe now onwards, mutual funds, wherever, even in the bus stops, if you stand, there is a big banner about the mutual funds because you can mobilize good risk is less and you can mobilize good returns on your small savings also with a minimum of 50 rupees also 100 rupees also 100 minimum of 100 rupees also you can make savings and generate income or revenue. Okay, so that's how money market funds up like a where nominal rate of interest if the investor wants they will go for this kind of money market investment. Okay, but they keep in the high yielding instruments. An investor also can easily cancel whenever he wants. The next one is leveraged funds, borrowing from banks for investment purpose called leveraged funds. The specialized funds by the securities of some specific forms of our industry. Say, for example, you are expecting this industry is going to invest, get a good returns. If you invest in only that, means that particular gold. See, gold always goes on increases. You even if reduces also very less. So, investing on such special stocks or securities we call as a specialized funds. Oil, if you see oil also always goes on increases. Investing oil refinery oil companies again is a special funds. Okay, you will find a good returns almost every time on that returns limitation. Yeah, the risk may be there. Okay, but the means it's the profits upon these special funds dominates the risk in these specialized funds. Those so those who are ready for that, the funds are invested in these specialized funds. The next one we have taxation funds. Taxation funds means what? Enjoy benefit exemption of tax. Generally, there are certain investors who wants to like at the, now it's the March ending. So tax exemption, your IT returns you are supposed to. So now whatever the funds that give exemption in payment of tax, if investments are made in such funds, we call as a taxation funds. Real estate funds, some fund manager also because it's a real estate and infrastructure related companies also growing good. So in order to give good returns to the investors. This in real estate. He make investments in the real estate stocks or securities. The next one is on the basis of geographical classification, domestic funds, international funds, offshore funds within the company, within the country geographically, then companies which are within the country and operates the funds within the country. Means he do the entire fund investment or fund management within the country only. Means the securities which are related to the country, then we call as the domestic funds. International funds means he makes investments not only in the country residing, but also the foreign country companies and stocks. If make the investment, we call as the offshore or international funds. Other funds, gilt funds. Gilt funds are relating to the government securities and the RBI funds invested exclusively in the government securities or RBI. We call them as the gilt funds. Index funds, that is company BSE and NSE listed companies. And what is exchange traded funds? You have exchange traded funds, and then load funds, no load funds. These are the some of the examples of mutual funds, types of mutual funds. See, I'm telling you characteristics of what are mutual funds and its characteristics, and then types of mutual funds are important. Remember, advantages. The entire mutual funds are important. You have become students, right? Okay. Otherwise, they would have been taken. The next professional advantages, you have a professional management, your investments. See, we as a layman may not able to take the proper decision and correct decision, but by investing in mutual funds, our fund manager with the knowledge of professional knowledge, he make sure and take decisions where to invest and make sure that you get a maximum profits. So that's how mutual funds provides a professional investment and professional management in investing the funds. Diversification. Risk is diversified by how by investing in different companies. See, with 4,000, I may not able to invest in any company. But as we all joined and invested, kept our investments, small investments in the hands of fund managers split that in different companies and make sure that our funds generate, investments generate some returns. So diversification, like in mutual funds, you will find risk is minimized by investing in a different companies, portfolio investment that is. Okay, that's how you make sure that the risk of the investor is minimized. Next, easy administration. Yes. Mutual funds, investment in mutual funds for the investor is very easy to avoid paperwork. Okay. Because see, you need not to do any my money 4,000 I invested, so 4,000, 1,000 in my X company, okay, ABC company, and 1,500 in a XYZ company, 2,000 in a remaining 1,500 in a PQR company. Like that, I need not to remember. The entirely my what I did, I kept my entire 4,000 in mutual funds, and whatever returns that he will give. The headache of maintaining everything is taken care by the who fund manager. So mutual funds save the time, make investment easy and convenient. Okay. And not only that, give an opportunity indirectly to invest in the stock market. Means you are having a mutual funds means you are also doing trading in the stock market, but instead of you, on behalf of you, your fund manager is doing. So that's how makes easy. Means if you are interested in trading in stocks, but you have no knowledge and you don't want to take risk, at the same time you want a good growth of your savings in your money, then better we can go for mutual funds. Okay, no transaction cost because it is easy to invest and easy to save your time and easy to get a good returns with a less risk. Low transaction cost, yes, because directly you are investing in the mutual fund company. Okay, large. First of all, I'm a small investor. Again, if you charge high cost, do I come to you? No, na. So, being a large institution, these mutual fund institutions, in order to attract more customers, and they charge very low rate of brokerage commission. Okay, competition for the institutional investors business. So, mutual funds are first competitors. Okay, second reason is that overhead cost for executing trade does not differ much for large and small orders. Large order, this cost spread over large volume, enabling broker to quote a lower commission rate. Okay, the next one is like see if you go to an individual professional stockbroker, he'll charge high only because you give 4,000 or 2,000 only to him and ask you to deal with your securities. He'll charge because you are only the customer client to him. But if you go to the mutual fund investor or fund manager, mutual fund manager, he will charge less because, like you, 3 or 4 or 10 others are coming to him and investing with him. So he is getting more. That's how he can split the transaction cost among the entire investors. That's how the low transaction cost in mutual funds. Next, higher return potential. Yes. Over the medium to long term period, mutual funds generally provide good returns and better returns to an average investor. You can get like whatever you don't get in the bank interest also, you can earn through the mutual funds. That's how it promises higher potential returns to the average investor. Easy liquidity means open-ended scheme. If you are in open-ended scheme, you can convert your any time based on the if you are in the types I said last one. What is that? What is that I said? Balanced funds. No. Under the growth funds. Finance on the base of open-ended. Interval funds are there. Now, if you are in interval funds, you are easily can buy or sell your mutual funds anytime from the fund manager and can sell at any time at the NPV, net asset value. Right? Easy liquidity. The transparency. Very clearly, as a fund manager will show you whenever you ask how your funds are invested. So easy scheme to invest in this mutual funds. Flexibility at any time you can make your investment plans and regularly what convenient. Okay, if in bank if you take a recurring deposit or post office deposits, every month a fixed amount, whatever though it is 100, every month you are supposed to. Here it is not like that. Whenever you have a saving and whenever you want to invest, that time you can go and invest in a mutual fund. So very flexible. Regular investment plans, regular withdrawal and dividend investment plans, anything can go. Okay, systematically investor withdraw the funds according to his needs and convenience. Affordability. Every small investor can invest here in the company securities through the mutual fund. That's about types of mutual funds. Advantages of mutual funds. What is choice of schemes, government regulation, tax benefits, product structure. These all also this. Disadvantages. Generally, disadvantages, anything that you are investing in securities of company means risk involves. You cannot say that totally risk is eliminated. The risk is minimized or reduced, but risk is risk. Nowadays in bank only we are facing the risk. If bank turned the board, right? So where you don't have the risk. This one to management fees charges by fund. The reduces the returns available to the investor. For whatever he is doing, he has to pay just to discuss The disadvantages, we have been given here some disadvantages, but in spite of some of its disadvantages, the advantages of mutual funds dominates and attracting many of the small investors. Okay, that's about mutual funds and growth of mutual funds in India. These all are years. Better not to touch this topic. Mutual fund regulations. In choice, you can read this. Yes. Shraddha and Sultana. Can we? Did you understood? Shall we stop? Please pay attention and please respond, ma. See the structure of mutual funds. Managed by Board of Trustees, mutual funds. Sponsor company establishes mutual funds as a trust registers and mutual funds with a SEBI. With the trust or with the registers or with the SEBI, he establishes the company, whatever the company sponsor providing mutual fund facility, that company establishes this mutual funds through trust or by registration or by mutual fund with the SEBI. Managed by, these mutual funds are managed by the Board of Trustees, and and they call it as a yes mutual funds, and appointed by Board of Trustees. Managed by Board of Trustees, appointed by Board of Trustees. Who is that? Asset management company. Like that is, I'm sure. Okay. The next appointed by AMC. That is asset manager. Asset management company appoint the custodian who provides necessary custody of services, and this custodian same asset management company also appoint the banker and registrars and transfer agents. Banker provide banking services, registrars and transfer agents provide register services. Organization of mutual funds, unit holders, sponsors, trustees. Operation flowchart, how it operates. Investors will pool their money, means investors come and invest their funds with the fund manager. What fund manager do? Fund manager invest that in different company securities. And these securities, from these securities, whatever the returns are generated, will be paid back to the investors in the ratio in which they invested their funds. Okay? Investment restrictions and variation of assets, not necessarily. Whatever important from examination, I feel that only I'm talking here. Next, what do you have? SEBI guidelines relating to mutual funds. Again, this is the important topic. SEBI guidelines relating to mutual funds. Yes, mutual fund schemes are for mutual funds. SEBI has issued a common format as prescribed. Okay. In that described format, they are supposed to disclose their portfolio investments every 6 months once, so that investors also can have a information where their funds are invested by their fund manager. Okay, so they are supposed to disclose that under the characteristics we have seen, right? Disclosure function feature. So that, okay, full disclosure. So here, how they discover, SEBI has given a format, a standard format. In that standard or prescribed format, only these mutual fund companies has to give the details of the portfolio investment of the investors' funds periodically, generally half yearly once. So that investors, why? So that they will, transparency will be there. Again, advantages we have seen, transparency. Okay. Also required to disclose investment in various types of instruments and percentage of investment in each step and total NAV. Every detail they are supposed to mention. Okay, that is what advantages we learned. What is that? Transparency. Everything. It is not that what you are investing. Okay, so this is important. Mutual funds also required bring uniformity in disclosures and reduce initial offer period also from 45 days to 30 days. And they dispatch the statements of accounts and once the minimum subscription amount is specified. Investment in mortgaged backed securities. Disclose the information in revised format of unit capital and declare the NAV and sale purchase prices. Okay, and also there again format in order to disclose the yearly half yearly results as per the, and whatever schemes are there under mutual funds shall be launched within 6 months from the date of the letter containing observations from the SEBI. Mutual funds are required to disclose large units holding in the scheme with over 25% of NAV. If they have over 25% of NAV, what are those schemes? And that also has to be disclosed. Okay, right. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And we'll meet next class.